All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Getting Started with Prezi Design. I'm Jules. I'm one of the trainers here at Prezi, and today I'll show you what is our data visualization tool and what you can create with it from infographics, dashboards, posters, social media posts, and much more. If you have any questions during this session, feel free to write in the Q&A, or you can also write any comments in the chat, and I'll make sure to keep an eye out and get to your questions today. All right, so today I'm going to be mostly sharing my screen so we can check out prezi.com. And I have launched a poll asking if you have used Prezi Design before, and some people haven't used at all. Some people have tried it. Thank you for getting to that. And let me just bring my chat to my other window. And I'll get started with my screen sharing here. Okay, so we'll be using Prezi.com today. First, I just want to give you a preview of what we're going to be creating and also some of the things you can create using Prezi Design. So I'll just open some projects I have here. Actually, let me start with this one. And then also we'll check all of the options in our templates library. So this is an example of a newsletter or something like that that you can create here with design. So you can have some GIF images, some videos embedded. You can use a lot of shapes. You can also create a sort of table of contents and link between different pages inside the project. And we'll get to that in a second. And we also have a lot of types of placeholder content that you can bring. So for example, this is a quote placeholder text that you can easily bring. And here you are going to be able to bring some charts, and we have over 50 types of charts. They are all very interactive for your audience. And this is another type of line chart. We also have over 900 types of maps, and they're all customizable. And then there are several things you can easily create. So this was all created from scratch without any designer background knowledge. These are just some shapes. We have removed the background of these, both of these images, created some gradient in the shapes here, added some icons and stickers. This is a sort of iframe element. You can add videos and links. This one is broken. And also, depending on your license, you can use the iframes, and this one you can add a website to it. Also, you can add a Prezi presentation and have it play your audience to go through inside your design. And also, for example, an iframe of Google Maps and so on. And as mentioned before, you can use the interlinking between pages to have your audience navigate in their own time. Okay, so this is an example, and this is a sort of internal newsletter, but you can use it for any sort of projects here. And then besides that, we have here an example of a dashboard. And besides the charts and maps we have here, there's also some other elements such as a timeline and also a quote, an external a link to an external website. And then here we have a map and two different types of charts that the audience can actually go through by clicking on the years on the top here, and you're going to notice that the data changes according to which year I click here. Okay, so this is something also you can do, that you can link together maps and charts. And then lastly, we have some examples of social media posts that you can easily create. You can add animations to any items you add to the canvas here. And in this case, it's just a little bit of an animation once you play, but you can save these into MP4 or a GIF and then have it playing in a loop. And this is another example as well, very simple, just an image and a GIF, a video in the background, and then you can just save it in the best format that you would like to. This is just an image with the background removed. And then lastly, this is what we're going to be building today. This is just an example of an infographic for a mock company called Source. And here we have a simple line chart, the small sticker. Here we have a map as well that you can see that is very interactive. Some animations and icons, a video. Here we have this call out that once you click on it, you get some extra information. Then again, here an iframe of a Prezi presentation. So I'll show you how you can do that and also create a hyperlink. This is gonna take a second. There you go. All right, so let's get started. Again, as mentioned, if you have any questions, probably somebody has the same question in the same session, so feel free to ask in the chat or Q&A. And to get started, once you log into prezi.com, you will see on the left side all of our products. So we have our presentation product, video, and design. You might see it slightly different, so depending on your license, but everybody has access to Prezi Design. You might see it here as presentations, video, and infographics. The infographic parts is the Prezi Design, so it's the same. And then today we'll be using this portion here, start from template, and it takes us to the template chooser. And from here, you can see all of the different things you can use Prezi Design for. As mentioned before, you can use it for infographics, and all of the templates you have available here, they are fully customizable. So you can change background colors and fonts and text, images, you can delete things, move around, and so on. Also, for all of the categories, you're always going to find a blank option in the beginning as well with the type of format. And here we have some design for video, so some content you could bring next to you to record a video or go live. Next, we have slides, and these can have multiple pages with some animations, and then you can add whatever content you would like, such as charts and maps and so on. Okay. Then we have also reports. You can have reports in the sort of slide format like we have here that your audience can go through by clicking on the arrows, or you can have a format and in a longer format. So can have a report in a longer format when you can have one page after the other this way. So you can customize these as well. And then we have some examples of dashboards to standalone charts, but you can also bring this to any projects. Maps, we have over 900 types of maps. You can access all of them inside the editor. Have posters, social media posts, email headers, YouTube thumbnails, and also virtual backgrounds. You also have the option here to start from a custom size, but you don't have to worry about it too much because you can easily customize the size once you're in the editor later as well, only if you have a specific one to start with. And then lastly, you have this option to upload a file. And if you already have an existing PowerPoint, PDF, or doc file, this is a great place to start. What's going to happen when you upload your file here, it's going to take all of the individual elements and allow you to customize. You can add animations to it, you can delete, you can move around, and so on. So this is a good place to start if you don't know how to. All right, so today we're going to start here from infographics from a blank template or blank, page. And I'll give you a little tour of the editor before we start adding some content here. So first things first, I usually recommend that you change the title of your project so it's easy to find later in the dashboard. And as showed before, we're going to be creating this infographic for the mock company called Source. So we can name it on the top here. So let's just go with Source Infographic. And then what you need to know is that here in the center, we have the canvas. This is where you're going to place any and all of your content. On the left side, this is where you're going to add the content from. We're going to go through all of these. And then on the right side, these are always the settings of anything you select. So right now we don't have any content, we don't have anything selected. So we can find here the main settings of the project. So pages, I can always add more pages like that. I can also from here, I have some settings to delete, add notes and so on. And then from the settings here, you can add a palette and branding, which we're going to cover very soon. Here you can change the size. You can also input any numbers here. You can add a background image individually. So you can have for all of the pages, but also you can change per page. Also change background color. And then you have some extra options here, depending on the type of content you bring. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go back. And then from the canvas, you're going to find the options here to duplicate your page. This is really useful if you have created some content and you wanted the next pages to be similar and only change the text or image. You can simply duplicate here. And then from here, you can also delete any of the pages. One thing to notice is that if you have several pages, they will all be the same size. You can also resize by dragging the sides here and the bottom as well. But you always have the same size. So whatever second, third page you create will have always the same size for transition. So when you're transitioning from one page to the other, it's going to be consistent. All right, so we can start adding some content here. First, let me just go through all of the options. So first we have text, then we have some charts, maps, graphics, videos, elements. These are similar to the story blocks that we have in Prezi Present. Have shapes. And then here you can access your personal library as well. And lastly, we have some integrations. All right, so let's just add a simple text to start with. We're gonna go with sales data for, I don't know, Q2, Q1, let's say it's 2024. And then here it's very easy to change your text. Once you select it on the right side, you're going to have all of the options. So color, font, size, alignment, and so on. You can also resize by dragging the corners. Okay. And next, I just want to add my company logo on the top right corner, and I'm going to just skip to the graphics. From here, you can upload any image in JPEG, PNG, animated GIF, SVG, and PNG. From your computer, videos are allowed in the MP4 format. And you can also explore our libraries here. You can search for anything. So we'll be using a little bit more of these later on. So I'm just going to start by choosing here my logo. Okay, let's place it up here. And then also to highlight a little bit of my title, I want to add a shape to the background. And I have that already saved in the past from my library. But it was a long time ago, so let me just scroll a little bit further. In that personal library, you can, anything you add to Prezi Present, Prezi Design, you can always right click, add to your library, and then use it later on. So here I'm just going to, oops, missed it. No. Send it to the back and resize a little bit here. Okay. So now I already have a little bit of content here. I want to show you about how to customize your palette and branding. And once you don't have anything selected, you're going to get the main settings here on the right side. You can click here on change. And I'm just going to scroll past all of my brand kits. And all of you will have access to these default palettes, which you can click. You're going to see that they all have different colors. They all have different fonts. And you can customize those, but these are just some pre-created options. And if you are on a team license, you can also create your brand kit with your custom logo and your font and your colors as well. So for today, I do have a brand kit for Source. I'm just going to apply it, and then it's going to apply all of the colors. And once I select any of the items, when I go to color, you can see here that now I have my brand color. So it's much easier to change anything, and it's according to my brand guidelines. Okay, so let's jump into the second content we're going to add here, which is a chart. Here you can sort by chart type and also use case. So for comparison, distribution, and so on, we have several types of charts here. And also, if you select by chart type, you have a little call out showing you what is it for, what's the best use case for it. Today, we're just gonna go with a simple line chart, and all of our charts, they come with placeholder data. So you know how it's going to look like and in which format you should bring your data here. So if you want to customize it, which of course you will want to, you just need to select it and come to the right side. Besides settings, you have this option here to edit data. And from here, you can paste your data. You can also upload a file, spreadsheet. You can also connect a Google Drive document, and that is great because it's going to update automatically once you update it in Google Drive. Then you also have JSON feed and some extra database integrations as well. Here, I'm just going to delete and upload a file here. All right, so then going back to settings, we have a few extra settings. We can change it, so show values, show points, smooth curves. You can also make your data downloadable if you want. You can change here the colors. You can name your axis. So let's say year and sales. Change font, legend. And tooltips, they are enabled by default. That's when you hover over the chart, you get some extra information with data, information. Next, you have data format. And lastly, you can give a description for accessibility. Okay, so, and also very easy to resize your map to whatever format you want. Okay, so let's continue. And next I want to add a map to my infographic here. I'm just gonna make my life a little bit easier. I'm going to select those two and duplicate it or copy and paste. So this way I have a little bit of a standard here. And let's rename this to our newly installed servers. And let's find maps. So as mentioned before, we have more than 900 different types of maps here. You can search for anything. You'll find at least one map of each country. We're just going to go with the simple United States. That's the data I have here. Again, it comes with placeholder data, so you can see how they will look like. And let's go to edit data, just like with the charts. So here, the first column is, of course, the location in the map, and that can be a landmark, a city, a state, country, region, and so on. Second, of course, is the value you want to display on the map. The group column is optional, so if you want to group certain locations together, you can use this column, or otherwise you can leave it blank. Coordinates, you can paste a specific coordinate if you want, but you can also just leave it not populated, and it's going to pick up automatically from the location you have selected if it exists in this map. And then you also have label, text, and so on. These are also optional if you want to have some extra information from when you are hovering over the map. And again, just like with the charts, you can upload a file, Google Drive, JSON feed, and database integrations. You also have the option to have more tabs here in the bottom that you can add, and so on. Let's just load some data. And here, I want to highlight that you may see that the data didn't really populate in my map, only one. And that is because we have two types of maps. We have the icon map and also the, what is the name? Now I lost the area map, yeah. Okay, so right now we have the area map, and this is only picking up for regions, states, countries, and so on. And here I have pasted only cities in the US. So it only picked up Washington because Washington is a city and also a state. So that is why it recognized. But let's go ahead and change the type of the map. So from map properties, instead of area that are better for states, regions, countries, and so on, you can also use the icon map, which is better for landmarks, cities, and so on. So you can see that now it picked up the exact cities. And then we have three types of styles. The first is the heat map, which is what we have currently. And that is when you can assign a different color for lower values and the higher values. And also, yeah, you're going to display the difference between them. You can also select individual, and that is going to highlight all of the locations in the map. And you can also select grouped, so we don't have a grouping in this data, but if you would, they would be probably different colors for each group. So let's just go with the heat map. And then again, you have some extra options here. You can, if you have data as a timeline, you can also have it playing here. You have this auto zoom option. If you have data only in a specific area of the map, you can auto zoom to that specific area. That is not the case today. You can also add the labels. You can use this tile layer if you want, and you can change the source here. Interactivity hints, zoom controls, you can also disable if you don't want your audience to be able to zoom in and out. You can make your data downloadable, hide tabs if you have more than one. And here you can also select an icon since this is an icon map. So let's search for hard drives because that's kind of the theme here. There you go. Then you have some extra options. You can change the colors. So let's choose some here. There you go. And then you have some other things such as legends, tooltips, data format, and accessibility. Okay, are there any questions? I'll just do a quick break here. Okay, I see a question here. Is it possible to add a link to another page? Yes, great question. Yes, you are able to from the data. So if you go to edit data, and if you select any of the cities here, any of the locations, you can right click and you have this option here to add link. You can link to something external, an external page, or if you have more pages inside the project, you can also go directly to that one or to a different chart map in the project as well. Right now, we don't have a second page, so it doesn't let me link, but if I would add another page, I could say, let's say I have more data on Portland in a second page. So when the audience clicks there, it's gonna take me to the other page or to an external page. You're welcome. Okay, so let's continue. Next, we've seen charts and maps. Now we have graphics. We have used here already my logo. Let's search for an icon because I have a small text talking about growth and revenue. So let's search for an icon related to growth. Can go with this one, can make it a little bit larger, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of a text. I'm going to copy and paste here and just resize it. Just showing you how you can make anything you bring here a little bit more visual by using icons or stickers and so on. Let's add another image. So let's search for, let's say, an employee. And I want to show you some of the functions that we have here for editing images. So let's say once you select an image, on the right side, you have some options. So simple cropping, very basic. You can crop however you want. Click outside. Besides that, we also have the mask option. So from here, you can cut an image into any format. I usually just use a simple circle. It's a little bit straightforward, even though we have many types of circles. So you can go a little bit more creative. Besides that, we have the filter and adjustments. So we have here a few filters you can use and adjustments as well. Something like that. And then lastly, we have the option here to remove the background. And depending on the type of image that you have, if you have a very distinct foreground from the background, you can use that option as well. So we have removed the background here. We can maybe add a shape to the background. We're talking about clouds. That's going to just help us highlight the image a little bit more. And then I'll just send it to the back. So just a simple way of creating a highlight here. And then what I can do, I can just select both of these. On the right side, I can group the objects together. And now they're one image. I can also use this later if I want in Prezi Present. I can just right click, add to my library, and I can use this later at any time. I'm just going to copy here some simple text. Okay. Here, I'm going to need a little bit more space, so I can just either resize manually, or I can come to my main settings here and just give a higher number. And there you go, I have a little bit more space. Okay, so besides that, we've seen icons, images, then we have still flags, GIFs, stickers, depending on what your content is about might be applicable or not. We can search for something related to sales or growth here just to make it a little bit more visual. Nothing crazy. I'm not sure if I'm going to find anything, even something like that or like a chart. Maybe, let's see. You know, sometimes it's Yeah, even something like that. You can just make it a little bit more interesting as well. Just some options. Besides that, so graphics, now we have videos. So as mentioned before, you can upload MP4 videos if you have them, or you can bring something from Prezi Video. If you have created something before, you can have it here. Let's just, let me find something from YouTube, and we can also embed. You can embed from YouTube or Vimeo. You just need to paste the URL here. So let me copy and paste the URL like that. Okay, and then your audience can play in their own time. Besides that, we have elements, and these are just pre-created designs that you can customize. It can be things like a placeholder for text and image. We also have some timelines. So all of these, they are customizable. Have flowcharts, things such as lists as well. They just help you to create some content. And what I wanted to show you also is the callouts, which I showed in the beginning. These are basically a small icon that has a little bit of an animation. And once the audience clicks or hovers over it, it gives out a call out that can be only a text or an image or a text with an image. And all of these, they show you a preview of how the icon looks like and also what's included in it. So let's say if I want a text and image, I can choose this one, and then I can place it anywhere on my project, and then I can customize it. So once I select it, on the right side, you're going to have all of the settings. You have the animation, you have the shape type, so you could change to something else. You can add a text, you can change the positioning and the behavior if it's going to be open on click or hovering. And also if you want the image to be below or not. Here you can add, let me just copy and paste this because I don't really have anything extra. Text, you can change the image here. So let's just search for something related to social media, or you can upload your own image. Like that's fine. And then once your audience, let me just shows you. So you see there's a little animation showing that there's something there, and then they can click on it and get the extra piece of information. So that's a great way of bringing more content without overloading your screen. All right, so here next, besides, the elements, which you can definitely explore. Shapes, we've seen some. This is great for highlighting things on the canvas. Then you have the library, which we've used before. I do have a story block that I've created in Prezi Present, and then I saved it here. I can actually reuse it. I'm just going to cut a little bit the corners. And I want to add an iframe here that you can find from the integrations. This iframe, you can really paste any iframe code. So it can be a website, Google Maps, Google Docs, forms, and so on. Anything that you can find an iframe source code, you can place it here. For a Prezi presentation, you can find that from the dashboard. So let's say, let me find one here. Let's say this one. I go to the three dots, go to sharing and privacy. I think this is not my presentation. Yeah, but okay, I can do it. And you have this embed code, and you can just copy, and then you can paste it here. And then I'm just gonna place it on my laptop, and there you go. Now the audience can actually open the presentation inside the project and you can even they can even go full screen if they want. And then lastly, I just want to add a URL. So I'm just going to add a text here, and let's say our new website. We can make it a little bit more interesting by adding an icon. Something like that. And let's just right click on the text, add link. And let's say source.com, which doesn't really exist, but we're gonna say it does. And here I can make it a little bit shorter. And that's the content I wanted to create today. You can always preview on the play button on the top right corner. And you're going to see that everything is very dynamic. You can click on it, it's interactive. We don't have any animations here, which we can do now. Basically, you can animate any content that you have. For when you have overlaid items like the text and the shape, I would recommend that you group them together, and then it's a little bit easier to add an animation. But basically, you can select anything. On the right side, add animation. Once you have added one animation, it's always going to add the previous animation you have used before. But you can just easily click on it and choose another. So we have really a lot of options. You can definitely take your time and see what looks good here. I can group some things together. And something else you can do also is you can always right click and then copy animation and then just paste. So if you want the same animation, that can be a little bit easier. And then you can preview here how it looks like. All right, so how you're going to share that, how you can download it, we have a few options. The most interactive way of sharing this content is through a link that your audience can click on it and go through the project on the web. But depending on the type of project, so if you want something for social media, like we showed in the beginning, then I would recommend that you can maybe download it. The download options up here next to the play button. You can download it in PNG, which usually has a very good quality. But of course, if you are downloading PNG, JPEG, and PDF, your content is going to be static, meaning that it's not going to be able to be interacted with. So you can see even here that my callouts are not really appearing. And the same with the map. It's going to be static. So that is good if you want to create a very simple image in Prezi Design. JPEG, the same. The only thing is that usually PNGs has a higher quality than JPEG. And then PDF, this is good if you also want to create an infographic or a poster or report, but you don't need the interactivity. The one thing that it works is hyperlinks. So if you save something in PDF and you have hyperlinks, they will still be clickable. And then you have GIF and MP4. So for social media, this can be good. I wouldn't recommend for this type of content we created today because it's kind of long. And then, yes, you can have it playing in a loop, but I think it's not the best format. So I would recommend GIF and MP4 for something that you might want to share on social media. And then for this type of project or for a dashboard, for example, I would recommend that you create a link or embed in a website. And you can do that by going up here to share. And you have the share button. And then here you can set the privacy. Let's say create a link. And this is the link that you can share with other people. They're going to click on it, and this is the page they're going to see. From here, it's going to be fully interactive. Okay. They can also go full screen. You have this little button here, and they can visualize full screen. They can watch the video, play the presentation, click on the website, and so on. So this is the most interactive way. And besides that, if you want, you can also embed this on a website. You can take the code either from the bottom here, you have the embed, and this you can place in your website, or from the dashboard. Once you have your project here, you can go to the settings, sharing and privacy, and you can also take the embed code from here and just copy. Okay. If you are, for example, on a Teams license, you can always add a collaborator to this project so they can also edit with you, and you can do that from the share button as well, add collaborators, and you can just paste their email here and give them different levels of access. All right, are there any questions? Take a look. How you can add and link more pages. Okay. Yes, let me show you. So for example, here, if you want to add more pages, as showed before, you can just add a page here in the bottom. You can add as many pages as you want. And then once you're playing, so let me just add a couple of things here, just so you have an idea. Okay. So once you are, let's say, presenting or visualizing, you're going to have all of the pages, as mentioned before, they're going to have the same size. What you can do also, if you want, you can have them, and I would say that that's better, not in this format because it's pretty long, but you can have the arrows, so it's more as slides, and the audience can click forward to view your content. And you can change that by going to the main settings of the project, clicking on page transitions, and you have this add page transitions. That is going to give that the arrows, the sort of slides type. And here you can also select an animation. And then once you preview it, as I mentioned before, this project is not the best because you have very long. But if you would do it smaller, it would be better. And they always have the same size. And then your audience can visualize this way instead of doing all the scrolling back and forth. So that's also an option, but I would recommend that for shorter content as well. Okay, I don't see any other questions. If you do have any questions later on, you can always go to your dashboard. You have this question mark next to your name, and you can click on the Help Center. And here we have tons of articles that should answer any questions you might have. All right, that was it for today. I hope you could get something useful out of this session and find a way that you can use Prezi Design for. And thank you for joining, and have a nice day. Bye, everyone.